Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the 21st Century Underground podcast. We are recording today on Monday, March 30th, and it's actually going to be a quicker turnaround this week. We're hoping to get this out by about Friday, and just given current events and then everything going on with the coronavirus, it'd be cool to kind of give you more regular, quicker turnaround on episodes just so that you get more current information. So I am Salvatore. I'm the writer of the group, and then sitting next to me,
Brandon Salas, the filmmaker, stand-in audio guy.
Right, and remotely via iPhone is?
Remotely via iPhone is Mike Villarreal. I am the audio producer person.
And the audio guy.
And for some context there, as in stand-in audio guy, as you may see, we are not necessarily our normal visual self this time because...
No, yeah, this is another, like last week's episode, just given that we're doing this remotely, and we haven't started screen capturing Zoom or anything yet. We're going to be just doing just audio. So for Spotify listeners, there's no change except we're going to stop visually referencing things in the room. And then for YouTube, you're just probably going to be looking at still. Maybe we'll give you a nice little still image this time. Nice little something to look at while you listen to our podcast.
So Brandon's having to do audio.
Yeah, Brandon's miking around with an audio.
And not that I'm terrible with audio. It's just I'm not used to the...
He's just not the guy.
I'm not used to the... Oh, it's the R24? I thought it was the R12. Damn.
See? Exactly. Yeah. He's playing with levels and, just trying to make this thing work.
This is a nice zoom, Mike.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there have been some changes since the last time we talked to you guys about a week ago. We're, week 2 of quarantine? Week 3? Probably week 3 now almost, right?
Yeah, we are week 3.
Because last time, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we were mentioning at least last week that we were recording the episode, I think it was the comedy episode when we got the news about Tom Hanks that came through, and we are thrilled to let you know that Tom Hanks has made a full recovery,
Nice.
which hopefully is emblematic of the recovery that the nation will make, and Idris Elba, I guess, is COVID-19 positive still, but he's pretty much almost through his quarantine period and hasn't shown any symptoms at all, which is great because he's like asthmatic. So, but
well, if Tom Hanks can survive an island and make friends like Wilson, then he can survive anything.
That's true. He can survive the coronavirus.
I mean, he hasn't always had the same luck, but...
No, he didn't have that luck in Nazi Germany trying to save Private Ryan. Which really was like a big misfire when you think about it. I mean, they killed an entire squad to just get one dude.
Hey,
I mean, I think that was like the point. I think it was supposed to come off heroic or something, but I don't know. At the same time, I was kind of like, man, this is a big loss of life for this one guy. And then, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so that's neither here nor there. But yeah, and then also in other news, the United States is currently, last time we talked to you, Italy was still the epicenter of the pandemic, but now it is officially our country, the U.S., mostly in New York City, which has tens of thousands of infections at this point. In Arizona, I think we just broke 1,000 recently. So
we could do better.
Yeah, and then and then in Arizona they're going to put a stay-at-home order in effect. So that'll go in effect tomorrow, Tuesday, at the end of the business day.
Yes. So unfortunately, it doesn't really change. The thing is, it's more statewide.
Yeah.
Technically, Phoenix.
Phoenix has been under a state of emergency as a city.
Yeah, and we were already practicing most of those things, except for a lot of there were still some unessential businesses that were still able to run.
Yeah, but the new definition for essential businesses for the stay-at-home order that's supposed to stop
whining.
infection, it's like nail salons, tattoo parlors, stuff like that. So
Golf courses.
We're doing good here. This doesn't feel like a in name only political move by the governor who everyone was yelling at. So it doesn't feel that way at all.
It doesn't smell like a deuce or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like just a fucking hot, stinking doozy. That's what he made of this situation. Former CEO of Cold Stone Creamery here. But, calling the shots.
I mean, we thought it would be good to go around, basically, give a little update on where we are all at. And Mike's kind of had to go into deep. We'll let him talk about that.
Yeah, he's had a pretty interesting experience recently. So let us know how you've been weathering out this doozy.
Yeah, I got a cold last week. And so I stayed home and then I self-quarantined because Danny had a lot of cough. Danny's my wife. And I wasn't sure if we were just going to develop to anything. And then I did a video message, a video appointment with my doctor. And he says that none of my symptoms match. And other than having a sore throat for a little bit, he's heard, but those are not official just yet because it's lots of variations of how people get in get infected with this virus with different types of symptoms. So he told me if I do decide to go to the test center and I test positive, to let him know, because he's learning along the way, because such a new medical thing that happened. So I thought that was quite interesting when he told me that to let him know if I tested positive. I didn't end up going because I the next day I was feeling a lot better, and the next day 100% better, ready to go back to work. But there was not enough cars, and for the viewers who may be tuning in for the first time, I'm a mechanic, and so our shop is currently open, but we're low on car count, and so it's just only 2 techs and a helper, and then 2 service riders. But yeah, then I just got more rest, and it was better off getting self quarantine even further, and then my boss throughout the weekend said that he needed a release of from my doctor saying that I'm good to go to work, and I don't have anything bad COVID-19 related, because we have 2 very vulnerable coworkers who have COPD. One of the guys smokes a lot, has only 30% of his lungs working, and has had a triple bypass heart surgery already. So he's like, if he gets it, he's out, basically. So him and the other guy. And so they're being cautious, and I don't blame them. My mom, I think I mentioned my mom was sick, and I had to take her stuff. She had a cough for over 2 weeks, and I think she passed it on to my uncle. And he has a really, really bad cough with a fever, and to the point where it's been more than 6 days or so with it, and he's not improving, and he's 68. So he wanted me to go take him, get tested. And so I got to see the whole testing thing today, this morning. We went to Banner Health, and he made an appointment. I guess it's appointment only now. Because of his age, they test him anyways. And but personally, I didn't feel like he had in it, but it's good to know. So we went through this whole thing, and it was quite interesting. When we get there, everyone was obviously wearing mask, gloves, and face mask, and the surgical clear covers to cover the eyes. It's the whole gown, they're ready to do surgery kind of style of outfit, except for the little booties. And then we couldn't lower our window all the way. We had to lower a window only 1 or 2 inches, and then when they're not talking and they leave, we need to roll it up. They told us always leave the windows open, don't get out of the car, and then when they're talking to us, you can only open it an inch away. And so they were trying to get my information. I was like, no, it's for my uncle. He's in the back seat. I made sure I gave him distance. I made sure his face was covered, so if any possibilities, there's less of a chance for me getting it, even though I had a lot of contact with him already. So if he does have it, then I would need to then self-quarantine. So we go through this one thing. We fill out the information. There's this person that guided us. It was this whole S pattern. It was on the parking lot for the Banner Health Center. We got to the second spot. They're waiting for us to finish our paperwork. And I was trying to be very distant. As soon as I handed the paperwork back, I fucking handed it sanitized real quick. I mean, more because I didn't want to get sick. I have a really strong feeling he doesn't have it. And just because I think he got what my mom has, my mom is already healed from it. But, you may never know. That's what he wanted to do, so I respected him. And we went there. And so after he gave back the clipboard, he was trying to get back the clipboard in the second spot, and they're like, no. And then there is this actual tent cover for one of those mobile garage stops with the, those white covers that you can fit 2 cars. Mm-hmm. And they had a little station, and that's where the nurse was at, and at a full gown outfit. and
like the hazmat suit.
Almost without just like surgical gown.
Got it.
Like they had like, you know, it's not the full hazmat suit, but it was just like mainly like, if you've seen any shows of medical shows when they're doing surgery, they have almost entire body covered.
Like in Dead Ringers.
I haven't seen it, but
Oh. Well, I have a picture in my head now. If anyone wants to know what Mike is talking about, look up Dead Ringers.
or House if you're doing
Yeah, or
surgery.
House. Yeah, it's probably more realistic in House.
And so we gave the paperwork to the girl, and they told us to bring that window all the way down, and they got this little bit of this interesting, like specially shaped Q-tip looking device, and it was supposed to go. I thought I was gonna swab the mouth and shit, but it went up the nose.
Yeah, I heard they take it from the nose. Yeah, like right, like the mucous membranes or whatever in there.
And she warned him, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And if we can't get a good amount, we're gonna have to do it again until we get it. So he's like, okay. So they went up the nose and they got her the first shot and they put it inside the vial, closed it, done. Told us it's gonna take about 2 to 3 days until they contact him. Whatever number he put down in the paperwork is the number that they're gonna be contacting him, and to remain 3 days in self-quarantine till you know the answer. And it kind of also involved me too, because I was exposed to being around, breathing the same air, but didn't make sense to me because he was using a thing to cover his mouth, and the CDC says that it's mainly the droplets, as they say, that can get you infected, even though South Korea and Italy and other places say it's airborne, and it's just you being around them, you can get it. Personally, I lean towards more airborne, but regardless, I wasn't worried, and I did stay home for the so yeah.
Right.
That was that.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting. Was it a long line?
Actually, it was dead, but it's like the line started forming right after us, and we were in 11:30 and we were running a little late. We were there it was like 11:35, 11:40.
And can I ask you, I meant to mention this before when you were talking about work, what is like the situation as far as with them, like with your sick pay, and then like with like sort of the stimulus? Has it affected your business at all? Because I know it's like sort of an independently run auto shop.
Well, pretty much where the owner is leaning towards right now is like we have sick pay and we'll use the sick pay, and if need be, we also have vacation. So he's pretty much using up all our benefit time to either self quarantine if you choose to, or you know, kind of pretty much that's it. And but meanwhile we're working, we are getting hazard pay, which is a significant amount that I saw in my last pay period.
That's
that
cool.
I'm getting paid extra for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. Actually, I had a similar thing at work. They were paying us a flat rate, and people who wanted to come in and work the skeleton crew were welcome to do so. But if you were uncomfortable, you could self-isolate. And they were paying us a flat rate at my work. Everyone got the same, but people could volunteer to come in and help out, and a lot of people did because they're taking such good care of us. But after the stimulus came through, it sounds like what they want to do is pay us bonuses for the shifts that we have worked, in addition to the flat rate that everyone's getting. And then also they're talking about like the stimulus. I guess it sounds like it really helped us out a lot because we were in a pretty good position as far as I guess like the money that they had put away and the kind of the cushion. It sounds like that's just my impression. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, they're talking about paying us even past the 6th of April at this point. So they're taking really good care of us. It's a good company.
That's good.
That's awesome.
I'm not even aware of. I haven't talked to my employer. It's my first time back to work today, and about if they received any money or not. I know we do have a lot in reserve as a company, and that we will definitely not die if we have 2 dead weeks, but it will affect us. But it would be not like, oh, we gotta close our doors kind of affect us.
Yeah, we've got a good thing going because we're able to do the it's a bookstore, by the way. It's changing hands, bookstore in Phoenix and Tempe, and we're doing a lot of curbside pickups. We'll take we're not letting anyone, because they announced today actually about the there's a it was a stay-at-home order, which they didn't word as a shelter-in-place order. They didn't call it a lockdown. They just called it stay-at-home because people were really riding Doug Ducey, because he's like not reacting to this thing fast enough at all as far as like the quarantining. And so we finally passed this, and if you read the bill, it sounds like it's the exact same thing that we're already doing. But, but like, just with a name, an official title.
That's what we're talking about today. They're saying it's
end of business day, Tuesday. It's goes into effect, but it's like the same thing. Like the category for essential businesses involves like it includes like nail salons and tattoo parlors and stuff. Like it's like nothing.
Golfing.
It's by name only.
You can still go. You guys can still go golfing.
Yeah.
Technically, I think hiking, playgrounds, outdoor recreational activities are still available.
Because he got thousands of letters and he got a petition signed by thousands of doctors telling him, like, you've got to fucking, like, do a serious quarantine or this is going to spread like crazy because we're already above, like, 1,000 cases now, But, yeah, at my work, the effect that this is having is that we had, like, sort of a walk-up window that people could use, but now the front doors are completely closed, and now we're only accepting payment via credit card over the phone or online. But we got a skeleton crew working, putting together orders for people and delivering them, like with gloves on to their car. You know what I mean? And so that's pretty good. And then we've been getting a lot of phone calls too. There's been a real like outpouring of support because I was there just today. Oh wait, no, the other day, and it's like you get like. I don't know. It feels like a slow day at registers is the amount of business that we're doing on the phones, and it's like, and the phone is literally ringing 2-3 times, like almost every 5 minutes. It feels like, we have lulls obviously, but we're like a group of 4 people, 3-4 people that have to like scramble to answer all the phone lines because we got so many calls coming in. Of course, the bar is barely operating right now. They get some takeout orders, but it's mostly us delivering books to the cars. They get a little business, but. So that's going to have a big effect, but I think we're doing a lot better than I would have expected under the circumstances. That's pretty cool. People are getting a lot of books. Since this started, I don't know if I even talked about this, but my girlfriend, her parents have a guest house behind their house, and they have someone renting it, and it's her brother's girlfriend's sister lives in there. She's in her 20s, and she had actually gone to Ireland right before the travel ban went on. And, she got trapped in Ireland and finally was able to leave. Must have been a week or 2 ago on a Sunday. She was able to come back, and my girlfriend was actually there at her parents' house when she came back. And they had this girl, she had to self-quarantine for 2 weeks because she was put in a testing area in Ireland with a bunch of Italians and French people, people from all over Europe where these terrible outbreaks are happening. And she was waiting there for 5 hours, and they never even tested her. They just put her on a plane and sent her back. And, so she came in through the back gate, and they saw her and said hello, but she went straight into the guest house and sort of quarantined, and that was the last time my girlfriend saw her. She had like no contact with her and then ended up leaving. And anyway, then it turns out, come to find out, later that week, she had like a really, like some flu symptoms, like not like really bad, but she was sick, and she decided, I should probably get tested just given where I was. And she was already feeling better when she came back positive for the coronavirus. And so she was pretty much good. At this point, she was like, oh yeah, I feel fine now. You know what I mean? It wasn't like one of those situations you hear a lot where people get sick, start to feel better, then nosedive and get super sick just when they think they're getting better. She just kind of recovered from it. And she went over there with somebody who was in their 20s who also had the same thing, just sort of like a flu or a cold, and then it kind of went away. They also tested positive. But the problem is, and luckily my girlfriend hasn't been over to see her parents since any of that happened. She ended up leaving that night, like earlier than usual. And her parents are now quarantined because this girl was quarantining herself, and she's training to be a nurse. So she's like, pretty... got a good sense of like what to do and what not to do, but her parents and the girl share their laundry room, so her parents have been quarantined basically for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and they're not showing any symptoms, so they're probably okay, and they're being super careful now. But then their neighbors were sick as dogs, who they're probably in like their 40s or 50s, their neighbors, next door neighbors who they hang out with a lot. And so that's another vector for infection because they just saw these people like a couple days beforehand. They were sick as dogs with the exact symptoms like coughing and fever and They're apparently doing pretty bad, but she actually just texted me. Their tests came back negative for coronavirus. They had like a flu or something. So that was really lucky.
That's good.
But it's just to show you like the kind of tension and like, you know, when me and her were talking about this a couple days ago, it just felt like it was like just circling all around, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and then she works over at the public defender's office, and, you know, they're getting, she's finally working from home now. But, you know, there were positive cases like popping up in like the sheriff's office and places like that, different employees, and they had to clear those, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. She was like, it's, you know, and luckily by the time she started seeing more and more of that, there were only like 3 people working in her office anyway, and the attorneys were all at home. It was just a couple legal secretaries, but now she's at home, so she's a little bit more in the clear, but it's just like crazy, you know what I mean? It's just, you can see the speed that it's spreading in your immediate environment, you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. So, and then the other thing I was just going to say just about my experience with all this is that lately I've just been journaling a hell of a lot, which is good because it keeps me writing every single day. And I just kind of try to do basically what we're doing right now, but, you know, on paper. And just keep track of the day, time, and just write my thoughts, feelings, whatever, things that I notice. So I've been writing a lot about what's been going on in the world. I've been keeping track of, you know, when I'm looking at news a lot that day, I write down what's going on. I just write how my experience has been, you know, and then just personal experience even. I mean, everything is, I mean, I feel like the fear of it, you know, I've talked to my dad about this, and like the problem is like our lives are completely gravitating around this thing right now. So it's hard not to be afraid of it. Like everything is just, you know, in the orbit of this thing. And the news is just like nothing but terror. Like only the last couple of days have I seen anything positive, and the only positive news that had come out is that the self-isolation is working in New York. They're actually seeing data that suggests that it's reducing the number of cases that are going on, and actually flattening the curve.
Italy too, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think things are going a little bit better there
the
too.
The lowest number they had in like weeks.
Like they're finally flattening, which is a good sign too, because that suggests that this could. I mean, it won't work itself out, but the same thing was happening in China after a couple months, too. It was like a month, 2 months, probably closer to 2 months. And if the curve starts flattening after a surge and peak in about 2 months, that's really good. I mean, it's partially due to our efforts, too, which is why it's really important to stay home and stay clean and safe. But, yeah, no, I've just been journaling everything that's going on. And it keeps me writing, you know what I mean? And so, you know, there have been days where I'm just in the garage for like 3-4 hours just writing, you know what I mean? It's cool, too, because it keeps me in practice, keeps me creative, you know, even if I'm not like writing stories or scripts, like I'm just, I don't know, organizing my thoughts in a creative way and in an organized way, and it just kind of helps work things out. And I was doing it for a week and just completely filled this journal that my girlfriend got me from Italy last May. I think it was last May. It was almost a year ago now. She went to Florence with her family, and that's where Dante is from, who's this writer that I've loved since I was like, you know, 10, 11, even though I didn't understand him too much back then, and I had to like look at the Cliffs Notes and stuff, but he was this great poet who wrote the Inferno and Purgatorio and Paradiso, which I'm probably butchering the pronunciations, but yeah, and she got it like from his birthplace, which is really cool, and it was leather bound and it was handcrafted by some Italian guy there, and then they took it to another shop, and there's this little Italian guy who impressed my name into it. You know, you like heat up the letters and then press it into the leather and stuff like that. And so I had this beautiful journal, and I was like, I didn't know what to use it for the longest time because it was just so beautiful. Like I didn't want to fuck it up. And then this came around, and I was like, I should use this. And it was just funny too because at the time that I started journaling, it was like last Sunday. It was the epicenter of the place was Italy, or of the virus was Italy, and I don't know, I was writing this Italian journal, and then I finished it a day or two ago, and now the epicenter is here, and it's just like, oh man, this is. It's poetic somehow, and I don't know how. I don't know what it is, but damn, this is fucked up. But anyway, and so I'm still doing it. I'm writing a new journal now. I've got to kind of keep, you know, obviously I filled that one up, but yeah, that's just kind of been what I've been up to. I don't mean to.
No, that's cool.
So,
should we get into our?
Yeah, you guys want to start? Yeah. Let's talk about our two big ones: the Childish Gambino and Doom.
The Beano.
So we talk about Childish Gambino
Doom
first.
/ games, because I didn't play Doom, but I'll mention Call of Duty.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, our boy Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, the man, the legend. He on the low, he like uploaded this new album to his website. It was like there for it had like it was sort of streamed, and then he took it down. It's like a tease, basically. And then it wasn't released publicly. It was just like it was like you had to go to DonaldGloversPresents.com, I think it was. And then publicly it got released. And the album is titled 3/15/20, which is the date that it got released publicly. So I was pretty excited. I was killing me because I didn't get a chance to actually watch the first release of it. So I looked online, and there was like these kind of bad rips, and I was like, I'll just wait. And then finally got released to Spotify and everything like that. So I started listening to a little bit of it and then listened throughout the week. And so far, my first impression, I enjoyed it. I guess right off the bat, I'll kind of say my qualm. Like, it's a good album. I'm enjoying the music. I found like 3 or 4 of the favorites I have on there, and then just outside those 4 favorites, there's still like 3 songs I like. So for me, I really enjoy Childish Gambino's rap. Like his rap albums where he focuses a little bit more into that. I really, really enjoy them. I just really like those a lot. I like his style. I like what he raps about. Moving forward with Awaken My Love.
Yeah, that was the one before.
Awaken My Love and Moving Forward. I really dig what he's doing musically and stylistically. And I think there's really great songs in there throughout like the past that album, the singles he's released, like This Is America, and then this new album. But I do really intensely crave some of that rap coming back. So that right off the bat. Otherwise, it's a little challenging. So in the album itself, none of the songs have. Well, there's 2 of them that do. There's one that's called Time. There's one that's called Algorithm. Otherwise, the rest of the songs are the timestamps of which they occur within the album. So they're numbers. It's like 35.31 or 42.26. And overall, the style, I would say, it almost has this more experimental, electronic feel to it that's... Some of them are a little poppier. Some of them are a little bit more darker. I definitely feel like it's leaning towards experimenting with this electronic sound throughout the entire thing, though. And his vocals and then some other vocals. I always like that he's using more than just one vocal, whether it's another rapper or in some of his earlier stuff using choir type vocals. I always love that. And this one's still the same kind of thing. A lot of different elements at play. For me, right off the bat, when I first listened to it, I got up to Time, which is like the 3rd or 4th song. I really did enjoy Time. It's definitely more of a poppier one, but it was fun. I don't know. I just had a good time with it. It was a fun song. I have for my notes, I have the number title and then how I will actually refer to it and remember it. I have a hard time with people who don't give real titles of songs. I think that's dumb. I'll be straight honest.
It feels like a gimmick.
It is a bit of a gimmick. It's like, these songs are too much. They're better. They're art pieces because you have the untitled art pieces.
Yeah.
These are art pieces. I don't know. It just feels like unnecessary. And like I get it. I feel like even if their song has no lyrics, Moby's a great example. Lots of songs where there's 0 lyrics. There's always still a title. It's something you can kind of. I almost feel like it's more for the audience rather than the artist. It's not for you. It's for the audience to be able to say, hey, I really love this song.
I like him, but in this case, it does feel kind of pretentious.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, kind of playing up. Like in that was the video for Feels Like Summer where he's, like, really clearly illustrating the fact that he's wearing, like, the kind of, like, more beat-up casual clothes, and then everyone else is, like, blinged out and everything and trying to impress people. And he's like, I'm not trying to impress anybody, but here's that image right in front of your face. And it's like... I do like him, but yeah, no, I do definitely get that sense where it's like, man, if you were just being casual and pared down, you would just be that. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
you don't
like,
have to show how casual pared down you are.
Just sort of like trying to impress it upon people. It's like, oh, I have no, like I know this. Oh man, should I say that? I don't know. Well, there's this dude I've interacted with at times, and he's like very, like white dude, very into like Buddhism and stuff like that. And Buddhism, the whole thing, like there's this big sort of emphasis on non-duality and. I don't know, sort of almost eliminating your ego from the situation and kind of like, I mean, this is, probably not doing it full justice, but like, kind of like eliminating your ego from the equation to some degree and kind of almost living in sort of more of a flow state, living in the moment. And there's this white dude who I know who's always like sort of signaling his Buddhism and like signaling his sort of like, interest in kind of like Eastern systems and stuff like that, and it feels very egotistical. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about this move by Donald Glover. It's like, supposed to look. It's like the humble brag thing. It's like supposed to look humble, but in that way, it's just a different kind of status, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Like literally, one of the songs is "Feels Like Summer," but instead of being "Feels Like Summer," it's 42.26.
Yeah, no, yeah, which that was already released as a single. That's like, being like doing like "This Is America" on that album and doing like 26.32. And it's like, come on, come on.
So I have a hard time with that. Again, my music's about sharing. I mean, Mike can attest that that's one of his favorite elements about music is being able to share with people. And I feel like when you don't name songs and you don't name albums, that's limiting its shareability. I feel like it's a pet peeve I have. So for me, off the bat, I really enjoyed the what I call the violence. It's probably my favorite song in the whole album. Which is 4748. He's, lack of a better word, he says like the violence multiple times. But I really like the whole vibe of that song. It's just like, it's very chill. It reminds me a lot of like it's much in the vein of Feels Like Summer, where it's just this really like cool slow wave song. It's just smooth, and I've kind of talked about that a lot for myself. I do like a lot of songs like that where it just kind of calms me, and I feel like that song is one of those ones that's just got some smooth vibes. What
do you like the outro on when he talked to his son in 4748?
I like that outro.
I found out that he was talking to his son.
It was
when
real?
he was younger. Yeah.
It sounded pretty real. I just wasn't, I wasn't sure.
I didn't even know he had a son.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I guess I'll be a little bit brief, just because I don't know. I almost feel like I have to listen to it again, but it was parts of it were like kind of hard to digest. But I did really like it actually. I think two of my favorite songs and two of the songs that are kind of like emblematic of why I enjoyed it were 2419 and 3222, just because it was very off the wall and experimental, and talk about him posturing aside and trying to kind of look pared down and kind of like he doesn't care. He did in the music, I feel like really kind of embodied that. Like he I don't know, I felt like he was like really experimenting, really playing, and like really kind of going for it. And I don't know, I really appreciate that in anything I listen to. I've been listening to Lodger by David Bowie a lot lately, which is his third installment in the Berlin trilogy. And it's often one that I overlook too, because Low and Heroes are both really, really good albums, and I've listened to them so many times. But lately I've like rediscovered Lodger to the point that it's almost like one of my favorite. It's like my favorite album in that trilogy currently, but that'll probably change. But I don't know. The two albums are actually kind of similar in that they're just very off the wall and experimental, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I kind of got that impression from this one too, with just the way he was using the electronic music, and the arrangements of the songs just seemed very experimental to me. I thought it was cool.
I like the 2419, the when he pretty much pitch bends his vocals from like low to high as he's singing it. I like that experimental aspect. I like that 2419 and the sweet thing. Like the chorus on it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the. I had that one. I did have 3222. That was another song that you wrote down. Salvatore wrote down. Those were. I think I made a small playlist, not necessarily for everybody, just for the sake of the podcast, to kind of narrow. Because of the lack of titles, it was a little bit harder to narrow it down. So I made a playlist of the ones I liked, and I kind of honed in on the ones I really, really liked.
Yeah, and then obviously like Feels Like Summer was really good. And that one's kind of. I feel like the effect is a little dulled because kind of already heard it a while back. It's still a really good song, but yeah, that reminds me of, almost, to use the Lodger analogy again, it almost reminds me of DJ in proportion to this record, where it fits the tone, but it's like the poppy song in the midst of like all like the kind of like really like experimental crazy stuff. So
definitely, I definitely say that. Even the. What were you gonna say, Mike?
I definitely agree on the Feels Like Summer. It's kind of felt dated because it was like 2018 when it came out. Yeah. I mean, it's 2 years later, and it just, to me, it's a song that I definitely skipped because I've heard plenty of times.
I really almost did, actually, but I wanted to listen to the whole album. But yeah, like when I was listening to it the first time myself, I was like, okay, yeah, I just kind of like let it run through. But I was sort of like,
first time I listened to it, and then like the third or fourth time I'm listening to it, I'm just I skip it.
Did you
personally, because
did that one have a unique outro. A lot of the songs in the whole album, which I'm sure Michael kind of get a little bit into more, have these different kind of outros where I don't know. I feel like again, Mike probably talked about that better than I will. But
yeah, it feels like summer specifically. If you want, I can get into it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, pretty much when I was doing a lot of research and information about this album, it was produced by DJ Daheen, and they've been working it for several years, and which is interesting. It's a several-year album. I'm guessing he had a lot of these songs kind of almost complete when Feels Like Summer came out, and This Is America. And the confusing aspect to me is that he put Feels Like Summer, but he didn't put This Is America. But at the same time, I'm like, it makes sense because This Is America it's so big and it's such its own thing that it would almost wash the album down a little bit, or like take away from the concept from what he was trying to do in this album when you add such a song like that to it.
I was more surprised by Summertime Magic because they both came out on the same. They call it the Summer Pack. He called it the Summer Pack. So I was like, if you were going to include Feels Like Summer, wouldn't you include Summertime Magic? But what do I know?
I see. Forget about that song. And pretty much when it comes to 0.00, the intro, it was very excessively long, and to me it was kind of hard to listen to. Once I listened to it the first time, I definitely skipped that song. There's no substance for me there. It just seems like too much going on, and without letting us know too much, because he just keeps repeating we are throughout that whole song, and then with a bunch of reverbs and a bunch of effects, and it just seems a little excessive. It seems like what's the point? There's nothing here. I don't know. I didn't get much from that song personally. And if you guys listen to it, it starts off with like a doo with a tone, and I'll mention the tone when I get to the last song. But you guys remember that little foreshadowing.
Yeah, the lack of titles is like really. I was just like thinking about that again. Like it is so much more difficult to communicate about music when you don't have a title. Because I was just thinking of a time that I mentioned a song on another album to my dad earlier, and was able to easily compare it to a track on something else. You know what I mean? I was talking about on Lodger again, because I was talking to my dad about this. This song Red Money uses the exact same instrumentals as Sister Midnight on The Idiot by Iggy Pop, because they worked on that record together, David Bowie and Iggy Pop. And I was just thinking about mentioning that to my dad, and I was like, how much fucking harder would that be if it was like 2419 is the exact, you know what I mean, is the same as like, Footloose or whatever the fuck. But like, you know what I mean? It's just like there's no vernacular. The songs don't stick in your memory as much. It seems almost like selfish in a weird way.
Yeah, at the same time, like, it wouldn't be as hard if these songs were way better than what they actually were.
That's probably true. Yeah,
it's hard because we're like 0.00. I'm just not gonna listen to it ever again. Like, it's one of those songs I'm not gonna listen to, and I don't care about. An artist.
That's true. They better make an impression if they're gonna be titleless.
Yeah, especially if they have this kind of artsy concept. Siguro came out with the Untitled album, and Untitled number 4 is song I never forget. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. Untitled number 4 and then Untitled number 3 are the whole album leaves a great impactful feeling in that album, and it's such a great album. And that's how I think about it. Like, I remember those songs, and I remember the Untitled album. I want to buy it in vinyl. Like, it's one of those albums I want to get in my personal collections. And which I haven't, because it's $300 and I don't want to do that right now.
You're right. And even like if you do like, I don't know, like Brian Eno does a lot of like one word titles, like very simple, but like it sticks. You know what I mean? Like I remember the title of a lot of his songs that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
For this, I don't really see a concept going on. It just, I don't know. Like, I was trying to do some research on it without seeing an interview of his, because what I try to do is I try to get as much information with the album I get from it on its own before I need to hear an interview from Childish Gambino himself kind of explaining it, because I think the piece should tell you everything you need to know for the most part, and then the details that happen later could be filled in by the artists themselves. And so I haven't checked out any interviews where he's talking about it. I haven't even bothered, and I haven't bothered, and I'm gonna continue just kind of listening to it because that's kind of like what I like doing.
Yeah.
But besides moving along, the next song that goes with Algorithm, and that one kind of starts off with some really industrial type mix with hip hop, and it was quite a mashup, and it not something I expected from Donald Glover to kind of go that route, and it was pretty nice. It was just like, okay, like, but one thing that kind of like messed me up a little bit is how poppy the chorus was. Like, it was really industrial and had that grunge, that Nine Inch Nail mixed with like I want to say like T.I. He would be like some like kind of trappy, kind of hip hop, but the chorus is kind of poppy, and that kind of threw me off. And I kind of got it. It's something I listened to, and I got over it after a while. But it's not one of my all-time favorites. But I'm guessing him explaining the album is in the second song, titled Algorithm. This whole thing's an algorithm, and so which leads me to believe there's some messages and clues in the album and the reasoning behind all this. So that's kind of what I've been going into, seeing if I can discover things in there, because this whole thing that he created with This Is America is all these little pieces that people got from the video, from the music itself, and so many reactions from it. And I wonder if this is because of what he put into that video and song. If this is kind of a concept album of like him having his fans kind of find things here and there on this album. And so Algorithm, and that's kind of the clue to this album, I guess. And then the second one is Time, featuring Ariana Grande. That's a good solid song for Ariana Grande. Her part had a bit of experimental ness to it, which I liked. It wasn't like 100% poppy, it was sick.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. But one song I liked the most was 1238. I liked the rap cadence, and that one was featuring 21 Savage.
Yeah, that one I have on my list too.
And I really like it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Andre 3000 style of rapping, and from Outkast, and kind of old Outkast style. I kind of like that way his cadence was on the rap. I like the way his style of rap that he was doing on that, and the guitar on it. I liked all that. Kind of has a good groovy bounce to it. And the next song, I'm pretty much, if I haven't explained it, I'm gonna go over the entire album kind of briefly, every song, and I have notes here and there for every song, good or bad. Next song is 19.10. It's a decent dance song, and the vocals feel a lot like Prince. It just like it got me it reminded me of Prince a little bit. Kind of this whole album had like a little bit of a light Prince inspiration.
I could definitely see that, actually.
Yeah.
And which I like, and from critics I've seen online have said, oh, this is Prince Light, they called it, and they were kind of dogging it a little bit.
Dude, I've heard fucking critics in like every genre, and anytime they attach the word light to anything, like it's like the go-to like shitty remark to like trivialize like something's like artistic value. I fucking hate hearing that. Anyway.
Oh, I know.
And it's
like
the idea of it too is so condescending because it's like, I mean, okay, so yeah, in one sense it's like, it's like trying to be Prince, but it doesn't have the ability to do that. But on the other hand, it's like, well, maybe they're just, I don't know, it's possible that Prince was just one of many influences that was going into the, you know what I mean? Like it could be a confluence of different influences, and just because it's only partially Prince is probably a good thing rather than like
full on.
Yeah, right.
I'd 1999.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather hear him do Donald Glover really well with Prince influences than do Prince as good as Prince. It's like I don't know. It's just an annoying
term.
I don't know. Critics fucking suck, man.
For me, I'm like, ooh, he got inspired by one of my all-time favorite musicians, Prince. Okay, so I'm like, cool, like kudos, you know what I mean? But next song is 2419, which is the song that Sal chose. Is your favorite on the album so far?
Yeah, 2419 and 3222 I like a lot. Like they were both like right one after the other, but I like those both quite a bit. And
throughout the whole album, it blends really good. Like the beginning of the next album, a song starts playing before it happens, so it kind of blends through the album, which I really like. I don't like albums that like don't have a good transition. They just kind of like song. So I like the thing he's going with this, how it just kind of seeps through. But 2419, like I mentioned earlier, when Sal brought it up, it has some good pitch bend vocals when it goes really low and high, and it has a kind of a little bluesy, jazzy kind of like singing. Kind of remind me back to Awaken My Love, and the album, how the way it was sung
soul
and
sound.
Musically, soul. And I really like that song, and I like it's pretty long, and it has a good break near the, I want to say near the middle to the end, where like it just breaks and then a harp starts playing, and then just like it just has this whole like feeling to it, like a movement to it, which I liked a lot. And then blends perfectly into the next song, which I really like, was 3222, which is another Sal's favorite, and has a really good transition from 2419 to 3222. And that one is a bit like, has a fat fuzzy bass, which is odd for like Childish Gambino. Like, Awaken My Love was odd enough already, but like amazing in a way. But like it's just like I did not expect him to play this kind of music.
No, me neither. That's actually like that's where he really got on my radar, was with that album. I was like, this is really fucking good. Yeah, I really enjoyed what he did with that.
And so the Fat Fuzz bass, and this one was just kind of another one of those, like, okay, like you're playing this kind of music, like you're using this type of sound. It was pretty sick. I liked it. It almost seemed like a trailer to me. Like you can legit use that song for a trailer for a movie, and then like build all kinds of emotion and suspense and feeling. Like that's kind of what I thought about this. Very industrial, very good. I like industrial a lot. And then the next song is my favorite. I think me and Brandon's favorite, which is 3531, and it's Bigfoot, get out the way. Na 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 na. It just has a good feel. I like the good feel songs. It has the guitar, like this whole album with DJ Dahid. I don't know if he plays the guitar in this, but there's all kinds of guitar in this whole album, and it's like a nice sweet strummy guitar, and then just kind of like happy, dancey type, and then near around 2:40 in the song, time wise, it has a good hip hop break, and it kind of brings it back into like hip hop, but it has like a build up kind of to that, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun song.
And the next song is 3928. Heavy vocal harmony, like he layered his voice like maybe 6 or 7 times, creating these giant chords of his voice, like and when you layer your voice like that, it's like playing the piano, ding ding. So he layered his voice. I thought it was pretty interesting. That's all I got from it.
Yeah.
Like conceptually it's there, but like end product not 100% complete in my opinion. I feel that way with a lot of this album. Not 100% feel like it wasn't there all the way.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so next song is 4226, which is the Feels Like Summer song. And I pretty much compare them to Feels Like Summer to this to see what the difference was. The difference is the intro is longer, and you don't really hear Feels Like Summer, and then all of a sudden it kind of blends into Feels Like Summer, and then you're like, okay, yeah, it's the song. And the other difference is in the original Feels Like Summer 2018, it fades into quiet, and this one it doesn't fade in, or it doesn't fade out at all. It just keeps playing that music that originally faded out, which was it's like kind of like bongoes, like like some like good little breakbeat kind of style of music that was happening near the end. And then 4748. Oh, this is a song that Brandon mentioned, and it kind of like really soft, not much drum action, and but the most significant part for me was when he had to talk with his kid, kind of talking about love and like asking him like, do you love mommy, and it's kind of interesting. And to the last song, 5349, that's one of my least favorites. It has some pretty intense vocals, like when he was just like, I'm the like he was trying to come off intense, but I didn't believe him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it was. I didn't like how he was trying to go really aggressive with what he was trying to say near the beginning, and I didn't receive it. I wasn't there for it. You know what I mean?
Whereas we have seen him do that before and had it work really well. Like, This Is America, he's aggressive. Was it Sweatpants? Was that the one where he just like fucking
Sweatpants
goes off? Yeah, that one works really well too. It's in a very vulnerable way. But yeah,
you know, this kind of goes along with a lot of the songs that I didn't like. It just doesn't feel like a complete product just yet. It feels like there's gonna be another album that he's waiting to release. Like, at least that's what I'm hopeful for. I'm hopeful that this is just kind of like I haven't released an album in over 2 years.
This is like the B-sides of a good album.
Exactly. That's a really good analogy. This is the B-side, and then this is just kind of people to get people's attention again, and then to drop a really fat one. Yeah.
It doesn't feel nearly as intentional as his stuff usually does. It feels a lot looser and less put together, for sure. Yeah, now that you mention it, that does really... I do feel that way about it, too. Like, it doesn't feel like I don't get... The main thrust of it's not coming through for whatever reason. It just doesn't feel finished quite.
Yeah, I guess my last thing I was going to say was just... I feel like I'll enjoy these songs more when I add it to a playlist and I hear them. I don't think I listened to the entirety of the album that many times. I listened to it all together. Some of it kind of it muddles the songs I do like, and it makes me really not like the songs I don't like.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I've got to just listen to it again or something. I kind of have the same impression. Like I think I need to give it another chance because I feel like there's definitely something I'm missing here.
But the times I listen to certain songs, the songs I do like, without the context of the album, I actually really, 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 really enjoyed them. More so than when I was enjoying with the context of the album.
Yeah.
So that's
It
obviously
definitely
not
makes me
thing.
nitpick too.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah,
me
no, I mean,
nitpick
I
the
know I'm
ones
like
I
really,
and that's it.
yeah, like probably overanalyzing it a little bit more than I need to. I was just looking it up, like Pitchfork and all these different websites are giving it like rave reviews, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know, maybe not. It's all right. So,
Like I said, I think certain songs are really good when I don't listen to it within the context of the album.
Yeah.
But listening to it all together, it really feels like it brings down some of those hits.
yeah, I would agree with that.
So enough about the album. Let's get into the game world. We got Doom and
Video
Yeah,
games.
boy, we got Doom
Call
Eternal.
of Duty. Doom
Call
Eternal
of
for the
Duty.
guys.
Which Call of Duty again?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare
Oh, so it's like the remake or whatever.
remake. It's
Yeah.
the remake, and then the latest release for the latest update release for that is Warzone, which is like a battle royale for Call of Duty.
Okay.
And what battle royale is, for those people who don't know, it's like Fortnite, but like Call of Duty style, with Call of
that's
Duty
cool.
things and activities. And I honestly think it's a lot more fun than Fortnite.
Have you played Fortnite?
I have.
Okay, cool.
No.
I have.
I haven't,
Okay,
so
I haven't really
weird-
played much of it, yeah.
Weird. First time I played, I won the first time.
Oh,
I won the battle royale only because I got fucking lucky. For some reason, I've landed in the heart. Okay, I'm gonna explain. Okay, battle royale. What it is like 150 people put into the game, either in teams or solo, depending which one you start, and then the map is massive, and then so you gotta collect. You start with just like a gun or no gun, and then but they have guns and ammunition and med kits all over the map, and you gotta find it. And so last one standing wins is basically how it is. So this map shrinks to force people to not camp all the time, and camping is
that.
when so you're forced to move and kill and shrink down the game all the way to like literally nothing. The
That's
map
pretty cool.
shrinks.
And it's just a snake pit at that point. Everybody's just fucking, just
And it
everybody's,
has-
somebody's. No, sorry, never mind. Go keep going.
And it has a little like timer, like when like it shrinks and then it stays. It shrinks and then it stays, but it doesn't shrink instantaneously. And if you're outside the circle, you die. So you pretty much you have like less than 30 seconds to live. So you got to keep on going to the middle. I got lucky in my first round and was in the heart of where the circle was supposed to be. And all I was doing was how to learn the mechanics, because I was getting back into video games. I was trying to learn what shoots, what does this, how do I collect my wood, my metals, and all that stuff. And then I killed one guy, and then I collected his things, and I stayed low, the entire time. To last two people, I made it to the last two people by doing nothing, and I got lucky, and I killed the last player, and I won battle royale. I only killed two people, and it was I haven't won since. I've never gotten that lucky ever again.
that's
So,
pretty funny
yeah.
though. Battle Royale. Actually, that sounds pretty fun. That
yeah, I do like that.
You pitched. If that was your pitch, you got me. My interest is peaked.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
it's so fucking fun. It's so fun. You guys should get Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
hey,
You can
donate
crossplay.
it to us.
Okay.
Hazard pay. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind playing that. I haven't played like a Halo type multiplayer thing in a long time.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Can you? I know you. I'll entertain the question just to be disappointed. Can you have two players on one console playing on
Yeah.
the Battle Royale?
Really? Oh, that's right.
Actually,
Yeah, Black Ops and stuff did that. I forgot.
I know Fortnite does it. I actually haven't tried doing it. I haven't tried, so I don't know.
Okay. Let's say.
Yeah.
Salvatore, get your credit card.
Damn. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. I already bought it.
Because I know you can do
that's
team, but I'm not sure you can do. I know Rocket League you can do that. You can have 2 people on the same.
Oh yeah, I know
account
Rocket
playing.
League. Yeah.
That's like a big sell for
But,
me at this point because they've just completely taken that away. For what reason? Like I don't know. It's like
They're fucking
no,
monsters.
you and your friends all have to buy your own PS4. It's like what? Like what? I don't know.
Yeah, I wish co-op mode was more
Available.
of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that you're like have a roommate or even if you're like a kid and you have like siblings and that like you all need to buy your own fucking system in order to play together is so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been enjoying that. That's been your thing.
It's been my thing, and I've been playing with my cousins in it, and it's been pretty sick. What's cool about it is that you can customize your guns and upgrade them, and you don't just have a regular gun. You have so many perks you can add to it. You can add all kinds of scopes onto it. You can change the barrel, you can change the grip, and all of it help you or diminish you one way or another. Like, oh, you're gonna have a bigger mag, but if you add a bigger mag, it's gonna be heavier, which is gonna slow your movement speed and stuff like that. So if you have all these things on your gun, then it'll slow you down, but yeah, you'll be able to shoot a lot farther and it'll be a lot stronger. You know, I mean, there's pluses and minuses and the things to think about when you're playing it and the type of games you're playing. Whether you're gonna be running around or you're gonna be just sniping or just using the bazooka, and so it's pretty cool stuff that you can do for the game, which I haven't seen done by Fortnite. It's mainly a Call of Duty thing, and one thing that's cool what's cool about Call of Duty Modern Warfare compared to other battle royale games that I've noticed is that if you die, you don't die. You have a second chance, and they throw you into this prison called the Gulag, and you get to fight another player who has died too, from a different location.
Wow.
And you play a 1v1 in the showers, and they give you either a pistol or a shotgun and one grenade. So if you win, then you go back into the game and they drop you again into a parachute into the game for where you died. Versus like Fortnite, if you're dead, you're dead. You're done. Time to start up another game. And another thing is that you let's just say you're playing a game of 3 teammates. If one of them you can get money and do stuff in the game, and so like there's these missions you can do, recon missions. Oh, you need to locate this and this and this, so you do it and you get $2,000. You get money, and then they have these little buy zones that you can buy UAVs, which is like to spot enemies in your map, and other things like armor, ammunition, and call in an airstrike. You can buy all that, and you can also buy a teammate back who has died. And so if it was like, oh, your teammate is down, you just need to get your money together and you can buy him back, and then he can come parachute back into the game. And I thought that was pretty cool too. So yeah, it's so intense, and it's more of a survival game than it is you going around killing people.
That's cool. I really like that actually.
That's cool. I wouldn't mind trying that game type out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially that game type. That sounds great. So cool. So what have we been doing, Brandon?
Yeah,
Playing some
Salvatore,
Doom. Yeah,
go
I mean, I
ahead.
guess I should probably start this out. Yeah, no, I've literally been playing. I think like one of the first games, probably other than like maybe Mortal Kombat and like Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo that I ever played was probably Doom. Like I have memories of playing I think it was Ultimate Doom, so it was like the not the original one, but like the remaster of the original one that came out like 2 or 3 years later in like '95. I remember sitting on my grandpa's lap and playing that on his computer when I was like 3-4 years old on like his like Windows 95 probably. And so this game goes way back with me, and yeah, I've really always enjoyed it. And I mean, it's one of those things I've kept up with for years. Like I played the original ones, and I remember, eventually we ended up getting that computer, and so that just became like a main staple as I was just playing Doom. You know what I mean? A lot, like in addition to like, stuff on the N64 and PS2 and whatnot. And then eventually Doom 3 came out, and I was super excited about that. And it came out on the Xbox, and I got that and played it, and I was into it. It was kind of a weird one, Doom 3, because it was like it like kind of got away from what made the original game good. It couldn't really decide if it wanted to be like a horror game or like an action shooter, and as a result, it was kind of a weird mix of the two, and it was a little bit tedious, but it wasn't terrible. It was probably my least favorite in the whole series, but it was. It had some problems, I thought. This new one, however, in 2016, after like Doom 3 came out, and they didn't make another one other than like the expansion pack for like
12 years?
Yeah, it was like 2004, 2005. Those two came out, Doom 3 and Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, the expansion pack, and then it was about 11 or 12 years until Doom, the new Doom, finally came out, and it was a reimagining of the original games basically, and it just goes right back. It takes the gameplay from the original one, what made everything so good about it, crowds of demons, finding new weapons in each level and kind of seeing new environments and being kind of pulled into it that way. And then it just takes the exact same elements that made the original one good and just translated them perfectly to the new technology, to like new graphics, new physics, you know what I mean? It was able to, I've never seen something so perfectly translate everything that made an old game good and then bring it into the future with all these new elements and variables, you know what I mean? And the original Doom for sure did that. Me and Brandon played a ton of it with our roommate Julio, who just took turns. We called it spreading the hatred, which was Julio's term. That was his colloquialism for playing Doom. We were spreading the hatred. And so...
And it's funny because it's actually an interesting example was we talked about earlier, the losing couch multiplayer. But we had so much enjoyment just playing this single player, taking turns together. Though.
Well, because that game genuinely played like an arcade game. Like you would jump into it and just do as much as you possibly could until you died, you know what I mean? And then hand it off to somebody else. And it like, even though it had a bit of a story, which was a lot lighter than it was in, say, Doom 3, like it just had that classic arcade shooter. Okay, next level, next weapon, next enemy, you know what I mean? What's going to happen now? Just scaling up in difficulty, getting harder and harder. And it had all those qualities. And then this month, after being delayed, it was supposed to come out in November of last year. They finally released just in time for quarantine, which we pre-ordered. Doom Eternal, which is basically if Doom 2016 was a remake of the original Doom, taking place on Mars with, this corporation, the Union Aerospace Corporation, accidentally opens a portal to hell, researching teleportation technology. That's where all the demons come from. And you're literally an ancient, because in the original game, you're just a nameless Marine who would just, go to hell and back literally and just kill demons, over and over again. In this one, they've literally made it so that you are a legendary being known as the Doomslayer, who is human, but his sole purpose is to kill the demons and to, restore balance, basically. And, so they that was the first one. It was super good. They literally find your character. He's in a sarcophagus sealed up in hell. The demons have just imprisoned him, basically, because they couldn't kill him or control him, so they just try to contain him in this sarcophagus made of stone. And in the opening of the game, you literally come out and the UAC has done these expeditions into hell and found the sarcophagus, and so you come out as the demons are breaking loose in the base and killing everybody. And in the second one, it's a remake of Doom Eternal is basically a reimagining in the same way of Doom 2 Hell on Earth. And so basically somehow a demonic portal is opened on Earth, and now Earth is overrun with demons, and you go back and you're like, all right, we need you again, Doomslayer. And so you literally you just get your fucking guns and you go to Earth and just start fucking murdering. One of the opening lines of the game is literally rip and tear until it is done. That's like his purpose. You know what I mean? And it's just so simple. And so, but it's so effective. It knows exactly what it is, and it's just great. It's so good.
Arcade style is definitely the best way to describe it. They take away you don't reload. I mean, you do run out of ammo, and getting ammo is a huge part of it, but you don't have to reload constantly or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't reload at all.
You don't.
It's like Doom 1, which was like an old computer game from the early 90s, so you just had an amount of ammo and just shoot until you were done. They do the same thing here. You don't have clips or reloads. You just shoot.
And you're just constantly trying to just quickly change weapons, and you're dealing with ridiculous hordes of enemies, and it's not about being strategic and hiding behind walls. I mean, you do hide behind walls, but not in your Call of Duty kind of way.
You're not taking. I mean, you're taking cover, but it's so fast paced. You're constantly running.
Yeah.
You can't turn off run. You know what I mean? And you're just jumping. You're shooting all over the place. id Software, who made Doom, was also famous for making Quake 3, which was one of the early multiplayer first person shooters on the computer. and it was like, it had a lot of online matches, and it's just people moving super fast, blowing each other the fuck up on these levels with like, platforms that you would shoot off of, and like sort of gravitational kind of jumping things that you see in a lot of first-person shooters. This game, the arenas where the waves and waves of enemies just start trying to fuck you up is a lot like a multiplayer level in Doom 3 or Quake 3, I feel like. It's just this crazy setting with just all sorts of things that you can take advantage of and use, and then just being attacked by just swarms of shit. And it gets I love it because it's so legitimately difficult at points. Like the game, as you go into it, it becomes harder and harder, and you don't really see that anymore because games like really want you to like them, so they just kind of lead you by the hand and like, oh no, we're even on the hardest. With most first-person shooters, I just go to the hardest difficulty immediately and play through like that because they're not very difficult. This one fucks you up. I did the second hardest, Ultra Violence,
which is like hard, and the next one would be very hard.
Classically, Doom has always had Nightmare, which is like the hardest difficulty, and then Ultra Violence is right below that. And I was like, should I do Nightmare? And I was like, no, I'll do Ultra Violence and see how it goes. And I'm so fucking glad I did, because I've been on the same, and it's fun. I fucking love it, but I've been in like the same area sometimes, just trying to figure out how to win for like 45 minutes, an hour, just like fucking getting killed over and over again. It's really great.
Yeah, and then like I almost caved and dropped my difficulty setting, but I was like, no, and I held through. And now it's definitely gotten, when you get all your weapon upgrades and everything like that, it's definitely in some ways getting easier. I mean, the enemies are getting harder too, but it's
after I get all my upgrades, I might try Nightmare and see what that's like, because I think you can start over with like all your stuff powered up. Yeah, because you do get upgrades as the game goes on, and spend different skill points on weapons and your suit and like just your basic abilities.
But so far, I think it's like a really good second installment. It's really fun. It gives me all the satisfaction, but I feel like it's actually harder a lot of times than it was than Doom was. This Ultra Violence mode, I think, was harder. And
they don't screw with the formula too. They just fix what needs fixing and then just kind of let it be
improved.
You know what I mean?
Then
they make improvements, but they don't get crazy with it in a way that it gets gimmicky. Like they just fucking do what they need to do. It's like, that's what I love about it. They did the same thing when they brought back Wolfenstein, which is another series from id Software that was kind of floundering, and they brought that back after they hadn't made one since 2009. It was called New Order, and that was great, and it was exactly what it needed to be. And then New Colossus, which I haven't played yet, I hear is very much the same thing. They just, I don't know, like id Software merged with Bethesda, who did Skyrim and Fallout. And since then, they've just been knocking it out of the fucking park. Like, they've just know exactly what they are, and they do it very well.
I think the only complaint, if I was comparing Doom versus Doom Eternal, Doom 2016 versus Doom Eternal, I feel like the secrets are a little bit more challenging in Doom 2016. I feel like in this one I haven't had really a struggle with any of the finding the secrets.
If I'm looking for them, I never have trouble finding them. I feel like in Doom 2016 there was always something I was missing. I was like, fuck. But in this one, if you're looking, like, they appear on your map and you can find them pretty easily. Yeah.
I feel like the challenges, though, there are more challenges. Like these little
those are
bonus stages, sort of, and those are a lot harder than they were.
Hidden in most levels. I think every level is a Slayer gate. And you have to find a key for it, which is hidden somewhere in the level, and then you open in this big fucking gate, and then go in, and there's like this like giant amorphous. It almost looks like a Zerg thing from StarCraft, and you like just like pull a piece of it out, and it teleports you into an arena, and you just get fucking murdered.
That one's tough. The first one, I had to come back to do the first one. That first one was so intense. They also started introducing enemies I wouldn't see for like.
They bring stuff that wouldn't even come into play until later. Yeah.
That was brutal.
But yeah, no, I just sheer arrogance. I just try to push through it because I'm like, no, this is my birthright. This is what I was designed for. No, that's the character. That's not me.
It's just it's just a really fun game. You can get into it. You can play it, and I like the difficulty because it's so hard. It prevents me from binging it all in one sitting or anything like that.
It's like the perfect game to be into as an adult because you can just jump in and out of it really easily, and it's super fun while you're playing it. Then you can kind of put it down.
So, I'd highly recommend.
Sounds pretty cool.
I'm teasing the idea. I haven't had PlayStation Plus in a very long time. I'm teasing the idea of getting it again. I don't have a lot of games for PlayStation Plus. This would be a game I could play online.
Well, if we got the Call of Duty one, too.
We could get Call of Duty Battle Royale.
Dude, I would love to play Doom online. I haven't had a game that's kind of compelled me like that, but it seems like it has like almost like a survival mode where you're in an arena with some buddies, like co-oping against demons. But then you can also play as the demons, too, against the players.
We should get Michael Brown to get it.
That'd be fucking cool. He'll do it. Especially right now. Like, he'll be like, it's like, I'm just sitting at home. So.
Yeah.
Good stuff, though. Yeah.
Highly recommend. Super fun. Lots of there's a lot of different things that compared to Doom 2016, like cheat codes, and I haven't even dealt with. There's these things called master levels. I haven't even looked at those.
Oh yeah,
yet.
I don't even know what that is yet. Yeah, and you can unlock. I'm pretty sure you can in the original Doom 2016. You can unlock levels.
Yeah.
From the original Doom games. I'm pretty sure you can do that here too. And it's so
Positive
wild
you
too
can.
because you go back into the original arenas, but the enemies look as they do in the new one, and your weapons are the same. It's kind of interesting.
I haven't looked at the computer in a while, actually.
What's up?
I haven't looked at the computer.
Oh yeah, you literally have a fortress of Doom, quote unquote, and that's like your HQ, and you go in there, and when you unlock secrets, stuff appears in there, and there's a computer with a loading bar on it. Every time
it's like a Windows 98 computer.
Yeah, exactly. And every time you find a Doom, an original Doom, like little secret or level, like the loading bar of like it's like when you're downloading a computer game, like the the installation bar goes up a little bit more, so like you eventually be able to play it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, I highly recommend it.
Maybe it's a reference to its computer origins of.
Absolutely.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
yeah.
in his room too, Doom 2 and Doom 1 and stuff is on like his shelf. Like he actually
Quake's
has
on
the
there.
game. Yeah, I was just like, what the
It's
fuck? It's so
littered
good.
with, especially
Yeah.
the Fortress of Doom. All like throughout the levels, but especially Fortress of Doom, it's just littered with these little Easter eggs.
It has just that game has balls and self-awareness in a way that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like
Honestly, the self-awareness part is fantastic because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's about just making this hardcore,
Like the original
fun,
ones. Yeah.
cool, badass game where Doom Guy.
Well-
they refer to him as Doom Guy.
yeah,
as
Doom
a-
Guy or Doom Slayer, yeah, which is what he was called in like Quake 3.
Yeah.
And like what he's always been referred to as Doom Guy, you know what I mean? Because you could play as him in Quake 3. And yeah, it's just funny, but yeah, no, I like it a lot because it's just like, I mean, you're in space shooting demons, like, you know what I mean? You need to like realize, it's like not super serious.
Shooting demons.
Yeah.
Demons. So, yeah, you need to get on that gravy train. Like, okay,
Okay, I'll look at the gameplay, see how I like it.
It's good
see
shit,
how much
dude.
it costs too.
well, we can loan you Doom 1.
Oh, that's true. We could. The 2016 one.
I'll Lysol the case and then do a drive-by and just drop it off.
Actually, yeah, for sure. We should do that. Yeah, I think yeah, because that one's really good still. It holds up. I mean, it's like very similar to this one. It's just
I
in this
saw
one they've
Julio
tightened it up.
playing it,
Yeah.
and
Good
it
shit.
looked pretty. It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, we'll get
it's
that to you.
intense. It gets your
Yeah.
heart pumping.
It does.
So, yeah, I think we just wanted to have like a little bit of a fun episode talking about some of the new releases. Obviously, updating the quarantine. I'm hoping next week we kind of dive into maybe a more of a bigger topic, choose something like we normally would. But right now, things how they are, just trying to take day by day and have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys are keeping well, listening to cool podcasts. Maybe recommend a podcast to us.
Yeah.
Drop in the comments or message us on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, and as always, you can follow us on Instagram at the 21st Century Underground.
Oh, yeah, and you can
Yeah.
follow me at the Samsara Studios.
And you can follow me at the Neon Codex.
And you can follow me at Mike Vivace, spelled Vivace on
Nice.
Vivace.
So give us some follows
Yeah.
and
Check out our
interact with
Facebook
us.
page too, 21st Century Underground Podcast. Yeah.
Tell us if you hated this.
Yeah, if you hated it, maybe you disagree with everything we said. Maybe you loved the Childish Gambino album, like basically, according to everyone else on the internet, apparently, from what I was seeing. So there'll be some hate you can spread with us. Some
spread
hatred.
the hatred.
Spread some hatred all over us. Yeah, we can take it. And yeah. And yeah, that's been our episode for the week. Again, without any footage, but we'll see what happens next week. Maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll send you a Zoom video.
Yeah, we'll go live.
Yeah, right.
You don't want us live.
Yeah, oh god, we should go live. Yeah, dude, everyone's going live. Everyone's going live. We gotta go live. Anyway, but yeah, so we appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed the episode. And we will be back next week, next Thursday or Friday, with another upload, another episode to help tide you over in this
This time of peril.
strange time. Yeah. So all right.
Stay healthy, stay clean.
Wash your hands. Wash your ass. Especially if you don't have toilet paper, then you kind of have to. Please do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, see you guys next week.
All right,
Bye.
see you guys.